Hormat Dato' Lee Kim Shin, Minister of Transport Srawat, Engineer Ong Chin Loon, President of IEM, Dato' Haji Ismawi bin Haji Ismuni, CEO of Rekoda, Professor Simon Leunick, Pro Vice Chancellor and CEO of Curtin Malaysia. Ladies and gentlemen, firstly, all praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His grace in making this online symposium possible amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. On behalf of the Ministry of Works, Malaysia, it is with great pleasure for me to welcome all of you to this symposium theme, Challenges and Opportunities of Infrastructure Development in Borneo. Here, I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the organizers for giving me the privilege to deliver the keynote speech. My heartfelt appreciation to all our distinguished speakers for accepting the invitation to share their knowledge and experiences in this symposium, which I'm confident will bring great value to all the participants. Ministry of Work with its agencies are responsible for the development of the construction industry and infrastructure in the country. Ultimate goal is to provide infrastructure projects that will benefit all Malaysians by developing facilities and amenities for the betterment of the people. This includes maintaining and constructing federal roads and buildings, enhance mobility and connectivity, especially in rural areas. In doing so, Ministry of Work upholds the Wawasan Kemakmuran Negara 2013, specifically Strategic Trust 6, which promotes inclusive regional development aimed at reducing gaps between cities, urban and rural areas. Ladies and gentlemen, to zoom in specifically on Borneo, Sarawak and Sabah has a combined total of 54,701.746 km of federal and state roads, of which 31,774.044 km is in Sarawak and 22,927.702 km is in Sabah. From the length of roads that we have in Borneo, 2,958.885 km are federal roads and 51,742.861 km are state roads, which are regularly maintained by KKR of both states. As an update, the status of major infrastructure projects in Sabah and Sarawak are as follows. The Pan-Borneo Highway Sabah Phase 1, which involved 35 packages, about 706 km from Sindumin to Tawau, Sabah, of which 12 packages are under construction and 56% completed. The Pan-Borneo Highway Sarawak Phase 1 consisting of 11 packages, which is about 786 km from Teluk Melano to Miri, Sarawak, which are 70% completed. Sarawak-Sabah Link Road, or better known as SSLR project, which involved construction of 77 km road from Bandar Lawas to Persimpangan Long Lopeng. This project is expected to start work in September 2021 and be completed in 2026. The Pan-Borneo Highway projects in Sabah and Sarawak will improve the infrastructure, connectivity, accessibility, which is expected to boost socio-economic activities, especially for local industry to flourish, thereby providing new employment opportunities. The same outcome is expected on the completion of the Sarawak-Sabah Link Road, SSLR, whereby it will increase the level of comfort and safety for road users in traversing the interiors of Sarawak, who are currently using logging roads to move around. It is envisaged that the SSLR will also create wider opportunities for economic tourism and agro-tourism for its surrounding rural communities and providing easier access for necessities such as education and healthcare. In essence, the infrastructures developed will not only ensure for a comprehensive logistic connectivity, but also provide support for other vital utilities development, including telecommunication, water supply, and energy supply, which become the catalyst for investments in new industrial activities. Another important infrastructure project in the pipeline is the upgrading of the road from Persimpangan Kuala Baram to CIQ Sungai Tujuh Miri, Srawat, which is expected to be completed by 2025. This project serves as the connection of the Pan-Borneo Highway Srawat, which ends at Kuala Baram intersection. The outcome of this project is crucial, as it will be able to cater to the high traffic volume, as well as to provide a much more convenient and safer link for road users, as this is the only link to Limbang, Lawas, and Brunei. Ladies and gentlemen, notably among the challenges in the implementation of the Pan-Borneo Highway project are as follows. A. Limited access to sufficient manpower and construction materials. B. Insufficient local qualified contractors and subcontractors. C. Limited funding for planned and earmarked projects. And D. Policy and regulations in implementation. For example, a case in point is the differing policy stance between the federal and state regulation, where implementing the Sarawak-Sabah Link Road SSLR under Arahan Pembendaraan 182 or AP182 restrict only federal technical departments to undertake federal funded projects in Sabah and Sarawak. On this note, I'm pleased to inform that the Ministry of Work through the Public Works Department has since ironed out issues pertaining to the implementation of the SSLR through rigorous discussions and engagements. Another unique challenge in Sarawak and Sabah are the difficult terrains, which forms part of our topography and in turn affects the design and constructability of the roads and buildings. After the devastating earthquake of 2015 in Sabah, the government has proactively conducted research in developing new standards, of which one of them is the Malaysian standard MS EN 1998-1 2015 or National Annex 2017, Malaysian Annex to Eurocode 8, Design and Structure for Earthquake-Resistant Part 1, General Rules, Seismic Actions, and Rules for Buildings. Moving forward, Ministry of Work will strive to minimize these challenges in the implementation of these infrastructure projects by, firstly, continuously engaging with industries and local authorities to open up more resource points, for example, quarries, suppliers, and manpower deployment. Secondly, promoting joint ventures between local companies and established companies to boost competitiveness and capacity. Thirdly, promoting implementation of specific projects based on areas or location outlined in the Highway Network Development Plan, or in short HNDP 2030, which was developed by Ministry of Work. And fourthly, collaboration between JKR Malaysia, JKR Sabah, and JKR Sarawak in implementing the federal funded projects in Borneo. Ladies and gentlemen, concurrently, we need to realize that the challenges of current construction practices, which includes high labor dependency, high fatality rate, aging population, migration and cultural diversity, urbanization, rise of the robots, high volume of industrial waste, non-environmentally friendly, and high cost of building requires us to embrace new technologies and digitization if we are to remain competitive and resilient in the construction industry. The adoption, adaptation, and innovation of new technologies is no longer an option, but a necessity, in our quest to enhance the productivity of the construction industry. Therefore, a construction industry needs to fully embrace IR 4.0 by using less unskilled workers and more automation in the construction industry. While building information modeling or BIM and industrialized building system or IBS are among the initial focus for development in the construction sector, the government is also keen to identify and adopt other types of technologies that are able to bring the industry to higher levels. It is noteworthy that according to the World Economic Forum, the top disruptive technologies in construction includes BIM, prefabrication and modular construction or IBS, advanced building materials, 3D printing and additive manufacturing, autonomous construction, augmented reality and virtualization, big data and predictive analytics, wireless monitoring and connected equipments, cloud and real-time collaboration, 3D scanning, and photogrammetry. Needlessly to say, Ministry of Work is mindful and inclusive in empowering our human capital through reskilling and upskilling on the latest digital and automation technologies to fill the growing needs of skilled force in the industry and to reduce the talent gap. We are hopeful with our initiative, more local workers will be absorbed into the construction industry with high-paying jobs, better working facilities, and safe environment to operate. I'm confident BIM, an intelligent 3D model-based process software, will ensure the construction industry to become more sustainable in the long run. Ministry of Work, through the Public Works Department Strategic Plan 2021 to 2025, has set the adoption of BIM as one of its key thrusts. The Ministry of Work, through the Construction Industry Development Board, My BIM Center is strategically aligned itself to provide BIM training program targeting industry players such as contractors, architect, engineer, and surveyor to learn the process of implementing BIM in all facets of construction. Currently, My BIM Center is collaborating with local universities and institutions in selected areas known as My BIM satellites. To date, a total of 230 participants were trained in My BIM satellite at the Akademi Bidaan Wilayah Sabah and Akademi Bidaan Wilayah Srawat since 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, the construction industry has been severely affected by the COVID-19 pandemic due to a highly challenging domestic operating environment and lower global demand. Ministry of Work, through its agency, CIDB, was involved in developing, implementing and monitoring the construction sector standard of procedure or construction sector SOP. Strategic enforcement synergy between agencies were also established to monitor project operation during the Movement Control Order or MCO. The SOPs were put in place to curb the spread of COVID-19 virus, which has disrupted our lives and livelihood in ways we cannot imagine. The COVID-19 pandemic has not only caused financial and labor shortages, but also a disruption in the supply chain for materials, which has led to delays in our construction activities. Perhaps this is the best time for us to identify new suppliers, enter new markets, and innovate more effective processes. We must be vigilant and reminded that any outbreak at construction sites and staff living areas will present major risk, not only for the developer, but for all of us in the construction industry. A stop work order will be enforced at the site. Despite of the current situation, Ministry of Work, in collaboration with other ministries, agencies and private sectors, are continuously working hand in hand to mitigate further losses in the construction industry. Since July 2021, the government has launched a program under CIDB called Construction Industry Vaccination Program, or CVAC, which aims to vaccinate 270,000 construction personnel by end of September 2021 under the auspices of the National COVID-19 Immunization Program, or PIC. Ladies and gentlemen, the development of transboundary of transnational infrastructures between neighboring countries is a key to the mission of national development, especially in preserving territorial integrity, national security and defense, and at the same time improving the welfare of the people in the border areas. One of the initiatives taken by Malaysia to enhance the transboundary on transnational infrastructure development in Sabah and Srawat is through the commitment made under the Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines East Asian Growth Area, or in short BIMYAGA. The BIMYAGA development path to 2025 is guided by the long-term strategic thrusts of enhancing connectivity within and outside BIMYAGA and promoting people-to-people connectivity through social cultural understanding and increasing mobility. Two significant projects that were completed are: number one, the Pan-Borneo Bridge, Malaysia-Brunei Friendship Bridge, completed in 2013, which is a toll-free bridge linking Brunei and Sarawak and significantly reducing travel time by almost 5 hours. And two, the Trans-Borneo Power Grid Sarawak West Kalimantan Interconnection project is the first ever between Indonesia and Malaysia. The project, listed as a priority under ASEAN Power Grid, or APG, and the Master Plan on ASEAN Connectivity, which involves a 275 kilowatt grid-to-grid connection between Sarawak and West Kalimantan. Another important project which is pending under BIMYAGA Vision 2025 is the upgrading of the Kalabakan Road in Serudung Tawau to connect to Simangaris, East Kalimantan. This project will include the construction of Immigration Customs Quarantine and Security, or ICQ, complex at the entry point of Serudung Simangaris to clear border crossings. Notwithstanding the intensified collaboration between countries and inter-agencies, poor sub-regional transport connectivity is one of the major challenges faced by Malaysia, Brunei and Indonesia. Within the transport sector, uneven levels of development across the countries pose another challenge, as this has resulted in: one, differing development priorities and agenda, such as infrastructure priorities; two, disparities in technical, safety, environment and administrative standards in the transport sector; three, divergent policies and regulation related to transport and transport facilitation, logistic development; and four, lack of effective promotion on trade, tourism and investment opportunities, both within and outside the sub-region. Some of these regional challenges are similar in nature in terms of project implementation between federal and state, especially on divergent policies and regulation. Despite the differing policies and regulation, I believe we can still work towards win-win situation in tandem through close consultation and collaboration. I pray this two-day symposium will be a reference of shared information and new knowledge for all participants. In conclusion, to ensure the infrastructure sector is continuously evolving, Ministry of Work through CIDB will launch the National Construction Policy, or NCP 2030 this year, which is a comprehensive guide for all the stakeholders of the construction industry in facing emerging technologies and new challenges domestically and internationally. With digitalizing the construction sector as its theme, the fundamentals of NCP 2030 are set to adapt and adopt future trends progressively. I'd like to encourage all participants in this symposium to join us in supporting the NCP 20 by leveraging on technologies and data systems, innovation and automation at every levels of their operations to build quality and sustainable infrastructures. Thank you.